Hello everybody, and welcome to another session of Capri Classic Haircuts. Today what we're going to be doing is continuing our process of teaching you different ways of doing layered hair cutting. Today's session is going to be the increased layered haircut, and we're going to be performing and explaining it on the board for you in just a moment. The whole key to this is, just like I said in earlier videos, there is the reason why we're teaching you these particular haircuts in the haircutting classics. And this haircut, other than from the previous haircut that we just recently did, which was the box cut, we used horizontal subsections, if you remember. We are now going to go through the same haircut, creating the same design line up on top. However, we're going to change our subsections to vertical subsection. And if you go back to the laws of haircutting, which we started with you guys way back when, like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and it says that vertical haircutting or vertical sectioning creates a lighter, more airier, more fluent haircut or a more feminine haircut. And horizontal sectioning takes and creates a stronger, more masculine or a heavier haircut. What we're doing with these haircuts are supporting those laws of haircutting that you learned right at the very beginning of this haircutting training program. And you'll see the difference between the haircuts once we completed this particular haircut for you. So that's why we're doing the same haircut as we did, just using different subsectioning for you. So I'm going to go over to the board now, and what we're going to do is we're going to just explain the process for this. So here we have the increased layered haircut, and as you can see, we're going to be using what we call in the industry radial sections, because everything radiates from one point. So your subsections are actually going to radiate right from where the four basic sections meet. And that's a key point on the bone structure of everyone's head, because the four basic sections are the highest point of the bone structure of the head form. So we want all of your subsections coming right from that point. So that's radial subsectioning, and that's what we're going to be used. Another word they use is pi. So we're going to start off with four basic sections, starting at the center back, working with radial or pi subsections through one side to the center front. So we'll work one side first. Then we're going to go back to the center back and work the opposite side to the center front. So that's how we're going to approach this haircut for you. The procedure we're going to use is we're going to create a guideline in the center back, project the hair upward 90 degrees over, everything coming up to a horizontal design line, and then we're going to cut that horizontal line at the top of the head. Please note, just like in the box cut we did prior to, that a stylist would cut the perimeter length first and then go into the layers. So if I was working in the salon, I would be working this haircut by cutting a design length first or a perimeter length first, and that helps to dictate the type or length of layers I'm going to be doing in this particular haircut. The procedure will be exactly the same, but prior to doing the layers, I would do a perimeter length cut. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm actually, just like I do with all of my layered haircuts, I'm going to take all of my sectioning clips out. We're going to keep where the four basic sections are though, because again, just like I mentioned, we want to make sure that our pi sections are going to be coming all the way from this point here. So what I'm going to do now for you is I'm going to actually start on this side of the head, and I'm going to take a vertical subsection or a pi section. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pi section, and as you can see, it goes right up to the top point of my head. Now, I'm going to take subsections of this so I don't have to pick all of this up, and what we're going to do is we're going to lift this straight up, and we're going to make sure of a couple of things before we start our guideline. One is we want to make sure that we are straight up from that four basic sections. That makes us know that we're not back here or over here. We do those shifting things, but that's in a more advanced haircutting technique. We're going to just take this haircut, we're going to make sure we're standing up there, and then the other thing we're going to make sure of is that we're not accidentally pulling our hair side to side. Meaning, when you talk about the two subsections, you want to be directly in the center of them. You do not want to accidentally pull it this way or this way, because that would change our lengths. So those are the key factors here when we're doing this actual increased layered haircut. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually start the haircut by creating my guideline. Once I know I'm in the right position, I'm going to then take this, and we're going to take a nice horizontal line going across the top. Once I have that, I'm going to hold on to this, and you could see I'm going to grab more of the hair at the bottom, and I have to learn how to scoop with my comb from both sides. So we're going to lift till we get to the lengths that reach. Any lengths below this that do not reach, we will not cut. So don't go chasing your guide, follow the procedure. This is my initial guideline, which is going to be working all the way across the back section of this haircut. We're going to be using a traveling guideline, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to now combine the two, split a little piece of the guideline off, because I don't want to keep taking all of this hair with me, but I do want some of the guidelines so I can see where I'm going to be cutting next. And we're going to take our next pie section, and now I'm going to take the guideline and this new hair to be cut. We're going to again lift it up to the same position. You should see your guideline, and we're going to take that off horizontally. Continue taking sections from down here, staying right in the center of both of those sections. Look for your guideline, take it off. Make sure that if anything doesn't reach, don't bother cutting it. Just bring it all up to here, cut to your guideline, drop the hair. We're now going to again combine these and follow process. Cut some of the guideline off. We don't need all that to travel with us. So what we're using here is a traveling guideline. The last time you did a haircut using a traveling guideline was the vertical graduated haircut we did with you in a few haircuts prior. So we are using a traveling guideline, meaning I'm traveling with my guideline rather than like in the previous haircut, the box cut, where we just pulled everything up to one particular guide. This one is traveling with us. Here we go, up. And then drop down, pick this hair up, making sure it's all coming straight up to the top of the head and a nice horizontal line. Drop the section down, combine, get rid of some of your guide, pick up a new piece, and remember that all those subsections come right from that top area where those 4 basic sections meet. Here we go. Pick that up. There's my guideline. Take this up. Check to make sure that the lengths do not reach. And we're ready to move on. So I'm going to take again some of the guideline, push it out of my way. Now we're going to be taking a new guideline right from that pie section. We're moving into our side here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure that this bottom line, which is right above the ear, does not go above my guideline, which I'm going to cut. And we're very close, you could see, so I have to be careful not to accidentally cut any length off that haircut, because remember, if I was in the salon, I would have already cut that length, and I don't want to lose any of that length. So we're going to come straight up. There's my guideline. Take this hair from the side here, bring it up. Make sure none of the length is coming off, meaning you want to make sure that that hair does not get cut. It is not, so we are safe. If I were to have a situation where the length was going to be cut, I can do a couple of things that I'll show you now. I could, 1, change the horizontal line to be an angle upward, or 2, to gain length that I've already cut at the bottom, I could actually pull the hair farther over to this side to save some length at the bottom there. But in this situation, I don't have to worry about it, because as I checked before I started on the sides, none of the lengths at the bottom here are reaching my guideline. So we could just stay with our regular horizontal, which we've been doing through the back, and we're going to now continue that through this side. As you could see, those subsections are all reaching up to that original part where I started. There's my guideline. Off it comes. Take a new piece, follow through, up. Make sure your guide or your length is not being cut. Drop that out. Take a piece away. And we're going to take our next to last subsection on this side. There's our original guideline, nice and horizontal. Check to make sure nothing else reaches. There it is. Take it off. Last but not least on this side, take some of the guide away, straight up the center. Here we go. There's the guideline. Take it off. And this is complete the left side of the increased layered haircut. So we can move it around a little bit, see what we've created. Nice soft light layers. And now we're going to be going into our back. Now, what I'm going to show you here in the back is we're going to actually take a piece of the opposite side. So we have a piece of our guideline, which we've already cut. That'll be our initial guideline for the other side. And now I will start by taking a new piece of guideline. Now on this side, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about body position. So when we talk about vertical layering going in this haircut, there's two places I could stand. One place I cannot stand is right in the center of my guideline. What I do need to do is I have to be on one side or I have to be on the other side to actually cut this haircut. So again, I could stand in front of this, on this side it would be in front of this guideline, or I could stand behind this guideline. Again, a personal preference, not necessary for you to choose which side you go on. It's what's more comfortable for you. And again, this is what we do. We want to make sure our body position is correct when we're cutting these haircuts. The more comfortable you are, the better your haircut will turn out. So again, our subsections are going right up to the highest point of the head. And what we're going to do is we're going to lift this hair up, look for our guideline, and take it off. Alrighty, so what we're going to do now is we have our next section. I'm going to take a piece of that, and we're going to take, again, our guideline up to the top center of the head, look for our guideline, there it is, and we're going to take that hair off. Going to hold on to this as I pick up some new hair, and I'm taking some of the guide from the opposite side, bringing that hair up, looking for my guideline, taking that hair off. We're going to just check to see if anything else reaches our guide, comes past it, and you can see just those little bits that are still going past that. Once I've done that, I'm going to now take my section, get rid of some of that guideline, again coming right from the top area of where those 4 basic sections meet. My radial sectioning comes right from there. And we're going to now push this hair out of the way, but we have some of the guideline with us and we have some of the new hair. So now, bringing this hair up, looking for our guideline, taking the hair off. Taking some new hair up, scoop from both sides, bring the hair straight up 90 degrees right towards that ceiling. There it is. And last, bring the rest of this up to see if anything else reaches. And there it is. Off the hair comes. We're going to now take this section down, take some of that guideline away, push it out of our way. And now we'll take some new hair, again, going right from that point, and this will be the last section in the back. And I'm going to continue with the procedure that I've done all the way through this haircut. You could see I'm now standing in front of my model, whereas on the other side I was standing behind this section. But again, the body position could be whatever is comfortable for you. I'm showing you both ways here, but again, whatever you feel more comfortable with is what you should use. See if there's any more hair to take off. Just that little bit right there. And I could see that this hair is not reaching. And we're going to continue this haircut. So I'm going to take a piece of the guideline that I've already cut away and a new piece of hair to be cut. The important, you could think, I don't know if you recognize, but the subsectioning in this case are more important than the actual design that we're doing. Here we chose just a horizontal line across the top. We could have chosen many different types of designs to do this particular type of hair layering, but we decided to make it as simple because of you are beginning hair cutters, and we don't want you to have to think about the design lines right now. What we do want you to think about is the technique that you're using to cut this haircut. So we could have cut a concave here, we could have cut round, we could have done lots of different things with our design lines. Don't think about those for right now. That's for future. Think about good, clean subsectioning. Think about good scissor stroke. Think about good body position. Those are the keys for you right now in your haircutting world. We're going to finish this up in just a couple more sections. Again, following the same process, looking for that guide, taking it off. Bring that hair up. There's the guide. Just make sure that the hair that's at the perimeter is not reaching your guideline. You could see that very clearly. This is the hair that's not reaching. Next to last section here. Picking that hair up. Looking for that guide. Always bringing that hair up. Making sure that you're not going to cut your length off. Last but not least, a piece of the guide. Take that out of our way. We're going to now finish this last section, bringing it up. There's the guideline. And that completes the haircut for us, but we're going to do one last step here, and we're going to just make sure that we cross-check our work to make sure we're nice and even, checking our line, and that's by just taking this up, seeing that we have a nice straight line. We could check the sides. Remember, when we cross-check our work, we want to make sure we're keeping it at the same projection angle as we did when we actually did the haircut. So I'm cross-checking my vertical haircut by doing horizontal subsections here like we did with the box cut, and I'm just checking to see that we have an even line. And that completes the increased layered haircut for us, done with vertical subsectioning, which will be lighter, airier, and more moving haircut for us. Okay, so what we're doing here is we just did a curly blow dry just to try and create a little bit of action in the haircut. You could see the layering through this area, and I'm just running my fingers through and shaking it out a little bit for you. That's really what I wanted to create for you guys as far as the finished look. We could have scrunch dried this. We could have done lots of different things with the lengths and stuff like that. But I figured a curly brush blow dry would do it, just to show you how we can create some action in the hair and stuff like that. So, again, made famous by a individual called Farrah Fawcett. Most of you don't know her either, but definitely has a flair of feathery type of lightness. Layered hair cutting, if you remember, is the only hair cutting technique we have to remove weight in a haircut. We could cut this much shorter on top and make it taller and do different things like that. But this is what I wanted to present to you today. It's called the increased layered haircut, and I hope you enjoy.